Hi everyone. So in this video for your final exam revision, we are going to focus on reading paper and we are going to focus on one specific question type, that is summary cloze. When you do summary cloze questions, you need to apply skills like literal understanding and inference. Remember, literal understanding means you can find the answers directly in the text. And for inferencing, it means reading between the lines. You might have to draw conclusions based on the information you find in the text. When you do summary cloze questions, there are a few steps. First, you have to locate the keywords. You have to find the clues near the blank in the questions or in the text. So usually there are words that convey similar meaning. And second, you have to guess the part of speech, which means you need to guess if the answer should be noun, verb, or adjective. And finally, you need to make sure it fits the sentence and make sure it is grammatically correct. Sometimes you might have to change the form a little bit. So in this video, we are going to look at two questions from the exam paper last year. So in part A, you have a text, an interview about the diets of city-dwelling creatures. So city-dwelling means living in the city, and creatures means living creatures or animals. If you study the questions, you will be able to find question 6. This is a very typical summary cloze questions. So we first look at the instruction. We have to complete the summary of paragraph 7, which means you need to look at the paragraph 7 and understand the main idea and use one word only. Remember, don't write 2 or more words. And all the answers can be found in the same paragraph, which means the words are taken from this paragraph. So let's take a look at the first blank. So here we have the word humans. Humans, actually, if you find the keywords, it means we here, the pronouns we here. And develops in a world. So the world, actually, you can find word of similar meaning that will be environment. Where there was a of food. So think, what word describes food availability in ancient times, like long time ago? Then you scan the paragraph and should be able to find this phrase. Evolved in an environment of scarcity. And then you look at the grammar. A of food. So here we need a noun. In that case, scarcity would fit perfectly because we need a noun, and the meaning, it means like there's not enough food, a shortage, or not enough food long time ago. And that's why for the next blank we have to eat more than we need. So to eat more than we need is like this part, to eat more than you currently need. So we can find the keywords, and then here we find that we need a verb. We need a past participle because it's a present perfect tense. And then think, what verb explains why we overeat? So here the text says, your evolved instinct is to eat what you can. It implies we actually developed this urge. So the answer would be evolved. So we have evolved to eat more than we need. Then for the next blank, we especially like to eat food with lots of. So here you can find a chunk of information. Food with lots of, the two blanks, and sugar. So think, here they are nouns in a series. If you look at the text, you should be able to find this one. Food with more fat, salt, and sugar. So by elimination, we know that the other two blanks must be fat and salt. And then the final blanks, those were but not easy to obtain. So think, why did humans crave these foods historically? So from this text, you can find this part. They used to be so scarce, yet so valuable. So used to be means like it was like that before, right? So scarce, which means it's difficult to find, yet, but so valuable. So those were so valuable. We can deduce that they were highly desirable. And here were, so we need an adjective here. And that's why valuable would complete the logic. So you can see that after we locate the words of similar meaning, we guess the part of speech, and then we think about the meaning behind and also the grammar, then we can get the answers correctly. After this question, let's take a look at part B. So in part B, we have a text letter to the editor about saving the bugs. So for question 18, it will be a summary cloze question. So with reference to paragraph 2, so we need to find information from paragraph 2 and we need to complete the summary. Again, one word, okay, but this time the word might be from paragraph 1 or 2 as well. So it would be helpful as well if you refer to the meaning given in paragraph 1. So again, check the grammar to make sure it is grammatically correct. So let's take a look at the first blank. So Popper thinks that the list of species that are actually to humans. So you need to think about what actually Popper value in species. So from paragraph 1, actually you already know that Popper only protects species with a known use for humans. This part. Popper and then should only protect organisms that have a known use for humans. So think for paragraph for the first blank, you should find an adjective here, right? So the list here, the list actually refers to the list here. So the list of all these species that are useful. So the answer would be useful. So the list of species that are actually useful to humans and not simply. So the next one, think about not simply, which means it contrasts with actually useful. So what's the other reason Popper protects species? Paragraph 1, you can find attractive and popular here, right? So both are adjective. But then you can see the example here, such as those found in coral reefs. So popular might not be a suitable word to describe coral reefs because it's an example, right? So in general, we would say, oh, it's something attractive. So for the next blank, that would be attractive. And for the next blank, so how does Popper view the length of the useful species list? So in paragraph 2, it argues the useful list is immeasurably long, this part. Alright, so the list of, and then a very long list, okay, that are useful is immeasurably long. So which means it's really long, very long. So he thinks the opposite, right? So and not simply attractive, such as is not very. So actually you can just directly copy. It's not very long. So the world is full of, okay, next one. So you need to look at the world is full of such as. So here you have example, right? So for the blank, you need to find some general terms. So what general term describe this? This is like some micro species in ocean. So you need to find, in paragraph 2, it says a type of tiny oceanic microbe. So you can just directly copy it, okay? But there's one thing you have to pay attention. That is, you need the plural here because this time you have a general terms, right? So you need to change the nouns from singular to plural. So the world is full of this, and you can see that one. You can find the keywords, right? So you highlight the same keyword. That probably doesn't seem very important. So the last one, too tiny to be. Why does Popper overlook these species? Because it probably, here you underline the keywords, probably doesn't seem very important to Mr. Popper. So here, they are too tiny. So you can find the word tiny here from the text and from the question. So too tiny to be. So the last one would be, you need an adjective, right? So how do you describe these would be important. So it's not important at all and too tiny, and that's why he might ignore it. Okay, so basically you use similar skills for this type of question. So if you review, just to take a look at these questions, words like useful, attractive, microbes, important, you can just directly came straight from the text. And for words like long, you might have to deduce by contrasting purpose view with the authors. And remember, for plural forms, you might need to change the form. And that's why you use the same steps to tackle similar questions in your examination paper. And this is the last part you have to review. Like whenever you tackle summary close questions, these are the steps that you follow to make sure you can get the answers correctly.